Before there were cigarettes, before there were brands, there was the leaf. Tobacco is one of the oldest forms of spirit communication known to humanity. Long before modern times, it was understood as a living messenger, a way for human intention to travel beyond the visible world and return with meaning. In the oldest traditions, tobacco was never a habit. It was a bridge, not something used to escape life, but something used to speak with it. Our ancestors knew breath as spirit itself, and smoke was breath-given form. When the leaf touched fire, it awakened. When guided by breath, it carried thought into the unseen. In that moment, intention became vapor, and prayer learned how to rise. It was never about getting high. It was about clarity, connection, making the invisible visible. That's the memory the leaf still carries. Radio Cigars.
Radio Cigar. Radio Cigar. Radio Cigar.
All right. Peace to the family. How's everybody doing out there in the world? Damn, I've been away for about 4 days, so shout out to y'all. Miss being on the channel. Had to take care of a few things, family things. You know how that be life in sometime. But we are back on 363 Empire. And shit, I'm not on the past few days I haven't been on YouTube. I'm watching everything going on. I'm like, there are a lot of things need decoding. I said, I gotta get Red Pill on here. Because Red Pill be going ham on his channel with the, with the current events and the hot topics and all of that. So I'm gonna take this time to welcome back to the platform. Y'all seen this brother so many times on here, none other than Red Pillar. Welcome back, Red.
Yes. Thank you for having me back. Salute to the family. Peace.
Indeed. I was telling Red family that background is insane. Oh yes, man, y'all see Red's background and background. That background is insane right there.
Yeah.
And that's the power of AI. Yeah, that's AI, right, Red?
Yeah. It was directed by me. It's an AI design.
Indeed.
Actually, this is a part of the AI Masters of my the visuals that I put together for the AI Masters. This is the generator, operator, and destroyer. The God, the God protocol.
Hey, Red, before we get started, somebody in the chat wants to know where you get your jewelry from. The Loving the Jury, where you get it from, brother?
Cosmos, I picked these up in Colombia. These cuffs, these are part of my travels. This is Uncle Hanky. You got to get initiated though with the this is that cool. This is also Uncle Hanky. This is like my Tony Stark's, my energy pack, and this is from properly cultured in the A and whatnot. And this is from Precious Mother Love right here, my copper crown. Right. So yeah. Gotta just tap in sometimes with your boy, you know what I'm talking about? But yeah, we got pieces. You could tap in with me at the Mark 125th and we have these vendors. I encourage you to go and support each one of them independently.
No, indeed. The Mark 125. That's the website, right?
The Mark125.com. Yes, sir.
Indeed. Yes,
Red,
man, yo, you know what I keep hearing about to start out with, Red? I've been seeing a lot about this, and I said, damn, I want to ask Rod Hayes what's going on with this. But King Charles visiting Trump, Red, the Moors, the brothers who are into the whole indigenous thing,
yeah,
all of those brothers, they're like, yo, shit is going down. Trump is getting I don't want to misquote what they're saying, but they're
Right,
saying
right,
it's
right.
real good. They're saying it's real good what's happening with King Charles and Trump. They're saying Trump is playing chess. He ain't as dumb as we think he is. What's your thoughts on King Charles visiting Trump in the U.S. and making that speech?
That was the most important thing that ever happened this year.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm,
the most important thing that took place politically, in terms of just where we stand and as in our walks or our claims. Um, I put a report together. Coincidentally enough, it's called "The Eagle Has Landed: The Death of the American Spirit." Right, and the symbology or the symbolism of what you just witnessed last strong in, I believe it was April the 27th, the 28th, and the 29th. King Charles and Queen Camille, first time that a king ever addressed Congress, the first time that King Charles ever stepped foot in the United States of America as king, right? This is Princess Diana's husband, by the way. He went to DC, right? Remember, we are hitting our 250th year, right? So he pulled up in DC, pulled up in the nation's capital, and then he went to New York City and visited 9/11, the memorial, right? The Empire State, okay? And then he went to Virginia, all right, which happens to be the beginning of the charter. That's the first place where the British Admiralty law was set off, right? So symbolically, on the surface, it looked like he was doing his regular king thing. He was in Harlem, you know,
mm,
um, and he was doing, doing what he does and whatnot, having these dinners. But the symbolism and everything was crazy, right? Just think about it. Right after he visits the not, he closed it. He comes to New York City, goes to the 9/11 memorial, and closes the chapter. Remember, Empire, the 9/11, the World Trade Center, that whole situation of even why those towers came down. What does that represent symbolically? What does that represent in the seat of power? What immediately after his 9/11 ritual, who goes on life support? But even prior to that, when you look at it symbolically wise, Giuliani is the mayor, but Trump had his hand in that. Trump almost gets allegedly taken out at his dinner, which was a weekend before the White House Correspondents' Dinner. An exact week later, he's sitting down with the king. Right, they're having a dinner and whatnot. So he almost gets taken out, and then Giuliani winds up on life support. Right, they just took Giuliani, and he just started breathing again. They put him on a ventilator. Um, but we're talking about the closing of a chapter. We're talking about the ending, the releasing of this old jurisdiction. This was very major. It dealt with the maritime. At the same time, coincidentally, right, and it was all of this talk about collaborations and cooperations. He actually came in there and invoked, when he was speaking to Congress, he invoked the tale of two Georges. He invoked the tale of two Georges, King George, George Washington, and whatnot. He gave him a bell, right? A brass bell that had Trump 1944 on it. And this was commemorating a ship, right? That they basically accredited to helping them, win World War II, right? And it was the quote unquote, the ship had Trump in its name. Okay. And it was crazy, and I'm just surprised that it didn't make the so I'm just surprised more people have not been talking about this, but I'm sure that it is going to begin to become a topic that people are going to be able to explore because it was right in your face. You dig what I'm saying? It's nothing to hide. They laid it all out right there. um Interestingly enough, right after that, right, as the spirit of America comes to an end, because we're talking about an ending of a chapter, empires, their life cycle is 250 years. So then, right after that, spirit goes out of business. That's why the name of the thing is called The Eagle Has Landed. So the spirit of America has been permanently changed. It shifted this weekend. It will never be the same, you know. So whatever's to come from this point forward, we are entering into a new age, a new epoch.
Mm. Yeah,
Charles born on my birthday too, Scorpion.
that that Spirit Airlines. I heard a lot of people got stranded with that one, Red.
Yeah,
And it's crazy, man. An airline like that got shut down, never, no plane ever crashed.
you
So it's
would
not
think,
like,
right? You
yeah,
would think that it would be the spirits that were falling out of the sky. At least they were on a chart or something. Come to find out that this was allegedly the safest airlines, even with the propaganda of them having duct tape on the wings,
right,
right?
right,
Even with the perceived incompetency of their pilots and their staff and things of that nature, with all of the chaos that was getting drummed up in that actual terminal, with all of the chaos that was on that plane, because based off of the video evidence that we see, Spirit was Jerry Spring in the air. It was considered to be soul plane.
right, right,
Yeah. So the $1 million question is, what is going to happen with those planes versus, Spirit going out? And Spirit was the buffer of affordable flights, where we're looking at in the future, flying will now become a luxury. This is the beginning of the restriction, not just the restriction of travel through ICE agents and people being at the airport, making sure that your social credit could pass so you could get that green light. When you go through TSA and you have to go through a certain gate, it has to approve of you when you put your passport in the future. You'll put your retina scan or your biometric scan. It will basically read or you'll put your real ID and it will tell you if you could get on that plane or not. But until then, they're about to raise these prices. Of course, this Iran thing picked back up. This is orchestrated. If you don't see the theater, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm talking about?
right.
This is very orchestrated. The removal of the UAE from OPEC, you feel me? All
Mhm.
of that is significant as to even what you saw. Remember, they're getting beat in maritime right now. They're getting beat in the water. They are losing that war with the Strait of Hormuz, right? That is a situation
Yeah,
that is heavily there should be that should be that. I'm like, where's the reporting on that from people who speak admiralty law? You know what I mean? The people where's, because that's very important right there, right? They're getting defeated. So yeah, man.
yeah. I was just about to say, because I don't know what's going on with this Iran situation. Could you please give us an update, Red? What is going on exactly over there?
Like A. Rashid came on the show before, the Kabbalah God, and he said that Iran is they are very duplicit. They're the duplicity. They're known for their duplicity. They are not to be trusted, meaning that there's no telling if these quote unquote Aryans and whatnot, it's no telling if these Persians are actually in these negotiations with their perceived enemy. And this is all what is called the theater of war, right? But however, whatever is going on out there, what a lot of money is being made on different markets. A lot of people are becoming very wealthy. A shifting of power is taking place. The the death of the petrodollar, the death of petroleum, the shifting of that into something brand new and whatnot. That is kind of what it is that we're seeing. You feel me? Um, Iran is going to have profound implications on the food market, on the prices and whatnot. Things are going to shift as a result of this quote unquote conflict. Let's not even let's not look at GI Joe. Let's not even speak about all of the eschatology or the quote unquote biblical narratives that are tied into this conflict that we're seeing right now, that at the end of the day is somewhat orchestrated. You know, it's controlled. It is a script that these Abrahamic religions and whatnot have all agreed to play along with. So yeah, we're in a timeline right now that is a quote unquote it's an end times timeline. It's an end time timeline. It is an eschatology. It's a messianic timeline as well. So you're in the Messiah timeline because it's like being on an assembly line. Yeah, the you know the plane has taken off. That spirit air, you know what I mean? Like that plane has taken off. That rocket has left the quote unquote ground. So whatever comes out, you know, it's almost like if you move forward, you can't move backwards. Whatever's going to happen is in this timeline. So you're looking at the building of the third temple. Um, that would be that White House situation right there, right? Henceforth, that's why he got the bell, and that's why King Charles came in there and whatnot. So you're about to see a complete shift or a combining. There's going to be a combining of these pieces, and they're going to come together and whatnot. I would say at the end of the day, Africa is still the target.
Mm.
All of the provocations of everything, Africa is still the prize, you know, and the Americas as well. The land, you know, all of these mineral rich lands, you hear them talking about raw minerals, you hear them speaking about water, you hear them speaking about all of these natural resources and whatnot. And, you know, look at what's going on in Congo, Sudan, you know, the pillaging of all of these lands. Even while all of this is taking place, they making a lot of moves trying to knock off Ibrahim and all of them in the Sahel regions. So you know, we got to be careful of the old bait and switch.
You know, I was watching this TikTok, and a dude was talking about the alien thing, and he was talking about how the people just aren't moved by anything that comes out in the headlines. So the US are announcing things, saying things about underwater alien bases and hybrid programs. They're saying things that if they said these things 15 years ago, Red, the people would be
Right,
completely shocked
right,
about what is being said. He mentioned that the people aren't moved one bit. The whole Epstein thing was completely sick, satanic, diabolical. People not move one bit. War with Iran, everything talked about. People aren't moved by anything. All they keep asking is, do I have to pay rent? I want to ask you, Red, what do you think if they're looking for a reaction and they're not getting a reaction from nothing because the people are deflated. They are completely just exhausted from life. What do
right.
you think will get the people reactive and get the people going if none of this is getting a reaction that they want?
Um, well, what I would say is that people are being somewhat trained.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, they're being desensitized.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great
And
point.
yeah, they're being desensitized and they're being groomed. You know, once again, the whole releasing of those 3 million emails was a part of quote unquote psyop, right? It's an effect, it's a prodding effect. And once you accept certain things, then you're basically getting groomed to accept something else. So it's only going to get more egregious. But the ultimate, you know, catalyst that will put people in trauma will be another traumatic event. You know what I'm saying? So the next hand, the only card that they literally could play at this stage in the game would be somewhat of a 9/11 type event. You know what I'm saying? That's what they've been building up. If you can see the you know all the same way that they built up 9/11. And when people went back, they saw all of the breadcrumbs leading up to it and whatnot. Well, they're leading up to something right now. You feel me? And what they're leading up is definitely contact, first contact. First contact definitely will get people you know, what I would say is it would be more of a governmental response, similar to what C-19 was, where it was like the people could have responded to it, but the government's response was louder and more concerted, more you know what I mean, a little more thought out and connected, and you know what I mean. So if they do some type of contact thing, it might even the people may be startled, but it's going to be the government and these governments and what they're going to implement very quickly, right? And what they're going to utilize that as means to consolidate and to do certain things, camps, all type of stuff. And yeah, so a martial law, like if there's a catalyst event, like if homie would have got spanked at the White House dinner, right? New timeline.
Mm.
That would have got the people's attention because things will change drastically immediately after that. I don't think people understand who JD is. And I ain't talking about Dupree, right? I don't think they understand who he is, you know, and
Right.
who's behind him, the reptile. He is going to, he's been chosen to be what they call the CEO archetype. He's been chosen. This the new president will not be the president of the people, but they will be the president of the quote unquote the corporations. He'll be
Right.
a president, a CEO type, but he'll be a president of multiple conglomerates, the technocrats, big pharma, big beef, big everything, right? They're gonna be because they're not trying to answer to the people no more. Those days are over. They're not there's no more of that fake democratic stuff. They're not dealing with all of that. They're going into the monarchy, henceforth why King Charles was here. You
Mm.
know, it's a
Hmm.
it's a monarchy. It's like a monarchy CEO type of thing. This is called a Dark Enlightenment. Curtis Yarvin. That's the book that they're playing by because Peter Thiel is playing that book, and then Palantir's everywhere, right? I'm sure more people heard about Palantir in the past few months than you probably ever heard and whatnot. They're making it more of a household name and whatnot, but it's kind of like the damage is already kind of done. They're logged in, they're tapped in. This is ladies and gentlemen, this is Skynet,
Mm.
and it makes I mean, without even having to embellish upon it, like it's a simple search. It's a simple search. It is even with Google being censored, it's a Google search. You don't even got to go to the AI, and it will tell you everything that you need to know about Peter Thiel, Alex Karp, and then go and check out Lucky Palmer with Anduril. Anduril. All of these companies are named after villains. All of these companies are named after like Lord of the Rings super villains and whatnot, right in people's face. And if you go and look at Haza, that's all Palantir's work. You
Right.
know,
Right.
the way that they flattened that whole place, that's all Palantir. So if the old goofy orange hair dude, if anything happens to him, you feel me? Even with him being so erratic and him being so quote unquote off fringed and whatnot, if anything were to happen to him, you would wish that he was still there.
Right. 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 You
If
know.
martial law is declared, that's when things begin. That's when you're going to see the activation of something that you probably never anticipated. You know what I mean? That's when
Yeah.
they let the people from over there. It rhymes with the lioness, right? Those people who have trained. Look, them people from them people from you know who I'm talking about. The people that Ye was talking about.
Mm.
Their army not only trained the NYPD, the
Mm.
Popo and the ATL, the police
Mm.
in Baltimore that killed Freddie Gray, the ones in Minnesota that killed the homie, but they also trained the cartels in Mexico, El Mencho and them.
Mm.
You know, not only did they train them, they trained the rebels in Africa, just in them villages doing the people dirty.
Mm.
Oh, wait, I'm not finished. They also was in the Congo. I'm training them people in the Congo. Wait a minute. They're in the Latin America with the training the guerrillas and the rebels.
Mm.
So we're looking at the synagogue of disruptors, right? These people come in and disrupt. They are they when you see somebody say that you when they use that play with the alphabet agencies, they're able to go and create discord and
Right.
then topple a government from within by
Mm.
creating levels of discord. That playbook comes right out of those people's playbook.
Mm. No, indeed. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But I seen a comment I wanted to, because we talked about Spirit Airlines and the whole and people traveling by plane. There's also something happening with people traveling on the cruise ships.
Right. So for all of my astrologists in the building, I know that we had the Scorpion moon just hit, but I'm asking if they, I don't want to step in the lanes where people are, this what y'all do. Talk to us. The plane, Spirit went out, right? Spirit died, right? Then the plane, dude was in a truck. The plane hit him while it was landing. Like, that's the craziest lawsuit. I think, you know what I mean? Then the boats. So, right. So we're talking about the disruption of travel. We're talking about a shifting. We're just talking about things going on with travel right now, right? So now, even on the ships, even on the water, even on the boats, they have a rodent breakout where people have come up, quote unquote, unalive. They are they won't even dock them. I believe that Spain agreed to take them in only if they agreed to be quarantined, right? So there's people asking, is this another this and this is another that? Because of course it's drawing back to C19 and whatnot. But then coincidentally, it coincides with your man King Charles, who was very instrumental in Event 102. In his hands was all over the quote unquote 2020 situation. He was talking, he had a conference talking about population control and making sure that we stomp out the carbon footprint and whatnot. And then he came right back to Congress with the same old song. So these people are dealing with population control. They parked them up by Cape Verde and whatnot. Yeah, these people. So it's like really, shout out to Bedell, because Bedell was one of the first ones that pulled he hit the alarm on just all around travel and whatnot, and getting more into personal travel. Like, if I'm gonna hit the road, if I'm gonna go somewhere, I fare with in my own conveyance and whatnot with my own people, and I might as well hit the road, Jack, because I can't trust their ass. The ships is kind of weird. You know what I mean? Taking they buses and everything, you can't trust nothing. So
Wow,
it's antivirus rodent disease.
that's a rodent disease.
Rodent disease. 250 years celebration of America. King Charles, who brought the rodents and whatnot, comes over here to, you know what I mean? That's when they remember their whole story is about them bringing these rodent diseases to the Americas, wiping out all of the indigenous. That was their official story, that the indigenous 90% of the population got wiped out from syphilis, rodent diseases, and all of this funk that they brought from over
Yeah,
there.
yeah, Red, and that I think that's an important part that gets overlooked when people think about them conquering the Americas. They think they were just they had some amazing warrior skills and they knew how to do, like, it was sickness and disease that they came with.
Where do you
They
think the
came with
name
some different
German?
shit.
Yeah,
They
what do you
came with
think?
some different, yeah, German.
Yeah, Germanic tribes. These were the germ. This is germ warfare,
Mm,
right? Imagine what a person got to be dealing with in their husk. Imagine what type of forget about parasites. Imagine what type of spirits. Because
yeah,
originally, when people would get sick, what would the ancestors say? They were possessed by demonic spirits. It was
right,
spirit possession. It
right.
wasn't called a cold back then. They were exercising your ass. You know what I'm
Mm,
talking about? They were doing all type of
shit.
rituals over you.
All
You
right.
know, so the people who came over here, they came over here possessed with all type of quote unquote spirits and whatnot, demonic spirits. And yeah, the pathogens turn into germ warfare, but they're dealing with pure germ warfare, bioweaponry, right? That's what they're known for.
Mm,
Okay,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
recessives, right?
mm-hmm.
That's not even, the movie Perfume. It's one of my, yeah, I like that movie. It talked about how they had to create perfume because of what London smelled like. All the way, I think, in the 1700s. This is not a long time ago.
Right.
These people, they brag about not taking showers and all type of stuff. So I'm just saying, like, The germ warfare has to be studied. The Black Death has to be studied. The fact that they weaponize bodies and whatnot. However, when you study the war in Haiti and whatnot, how they took they were killing the wildlife and creating the yellow fever and things of that nature. So you could weaponize. They weaponize cadavers. You feel
Mm,
me? They could weaponize bodies and whatnot.
mm.
You dig what I'm saying? These are
I,
necromancers. So these necromancers, not only do they weaponize all of that, they desecrate bodies. This is what Is It Real is doing. They desecrate bodies in here. That's what all of the mounds and whatnot. When they excavated the mounds, that's what the mummies getting sniffed and grounded up. That's what them doing to this day. Talking about they discover shit. You ain't discovered nothing. Nobody asked you to discover. You know what I mean? You're out here digging up tombs and whatnot. Y'all out here digging up catacombs, eating mummies, delectable Negroes and whatnot. So we're dealing with a different type of entity. And when you want to talk about all of these extraterrestrials, let's speak about these quote unquote Neanderthals, who don't really pass they don't pass the human test, biologically, by the numbers. So,
I think we've never went down that route as a collective to study that because you often get boxed as a racist,
yeah,
as a it gets boxed as we're all the same, and I have nothing against anybody, but facts is facts. This is the history of what happened here and how populations got wiped out.
truth must be told, you
Yeah.
know, truth must be told. And it even goes all the way into, how our blood doesn't mix with everybody else's blood. Certain blood types go to war with one another. You know what I mean? They got to fight like crazy in order for their seed to germinate in the wombs of our women.
Mm.
They got to jump through a bunch of hoops.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of speaking of children, because I was about to say, a lot of children are in vitro children nowadays, right? A lot
Yeah,
more than what people know. It's not natural births, a whole lot.
a whole lot.
Especially when you talk about a group of people, they have, like, if you notice, I've noticed this ever since I worked in Brooklyn. They when they give birth, they have like cat litter. They have like 3-4 babies at a time. I guess because of the in vitro and that what
Like a
causes.
like a steroid, a booster.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I seen that. It's a lot of that.
So, but I would love for you to touch on that. But what I really wanted to just present was that they say for the first time ever, read women over 40 outnumbered births from teenage girls.
I saw that
Now,
article.
wow, now that is shit, Red. I remember when I was young, to be 40, that was like you were like a old grandmother or grandpa or something like that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
when
yeah,
I thought about a 40-year-old when I was 14, I thought like old grandma, old grandpa.
yeah, yeah.
So
That was
now
Cougar territory.
now to be
You
that
was
age
almost Pearl
and
from 227.
shit, man. So I mean, do you think this means the human race is gonna live longer now? What do you think about what's going on with women over 40 outnumbering the teenage girls having birth right now, right? Or is it just economics where people like I ain't having a baby early because of
Yeah.
strictly economic? What's your thoughts, Red?
Uh, it's a lot of factors at play right now. You know what I mean? There's a ton of factors, socioeconomic factors. There's cultural factors. There's a whole feminist thing and alternative lifestyle, the boom in that. There's just a lot of factors. The rise in these Plan Bs and whatnot uh, is just a big factor. But it's a cycle. I feel that as technology improves and as quote unquote more natural based childbirthing, more natural based eating, the changing of the mind state underneath Babylon or that Romanistic mind and whatnot. I believe that that's opening up our goddesses, our mothers, and our sisters. It, you know, to break away from the barriers of them saying when you can't, how you can't have a child, what age, and all of that limits. Those limits are also beginning to fall because women are becoming fertile and whatnot. They're remaining fertile, and they're having this quote unquote, you know, these star seeds and these quote unquote, you know, the star seeds want to come through these women who have this quote unquote, this big mama spirit, this more, you know what I mean, the more of the nurturing, because the grandmothers are really not grandmothers these days, you feel me? It's not the same as it was when we were coming up, how our grandmothers were moving, and the same thing with grandfathers, you know, you know. But I feel that some of the young women that are not having the children, what, in 20 years from now, that might be different. You know what I mean? And I feel that the technology is going to extend the age limit as to the healthy birth, how a woman could give birth healthily. It will definitely extend because right now, one of the main things that science is pouring billions of dollars in is actual the extension of not just life, but the extension of actual, you know, human properties and stuff like that. The breakthroughs that that are taking place with quantum computing and all of this AI stuff. I mean, you literally could wake up one day and there'll be some type of breakthrough where they'll be able to reverse a cell or something, or, you know, play with the genome. You have no idea. But what I do see and what I have noticed with the in vitro and with these test tubes and all of this other stuff, this is the road to transhumanism. It is
Mm.
all, yeah, it's definitely a part of a cycle and whatnot. You're seeing the proliferation of designer babies, right? That's a thing now. People are editing the quote unquote babies in order to manipulate their eye color, their height, you know what I mean, desirable traits. You have this whole movement taking place that's funded by Peter Thiel called look maxing. You know, you got this whole thing called look maxing going on where the young boys are hitting their faces with hammers and whatnot, trying to get that jawline. You know what I'm talking about? They're trying to get that jawline. They want to get these features that they consider asymmetrically perfect, right? So it's called look maxing. The manipulation of the augmentation of the body. And of course, you see with this rise in not just the BBLs and whatnot, because the BBL thing has evolved to the rise in like the Ozempics and the other shot that they taken. You
Yeah.
know, they have the Mar-a-Lago face. It's a lot of things going on right now,
Yeah.
and they are definitely moving into a place where the Neuralink is going to be a thing. The Neuralink that Elon Musk is working on. He's going to
Mm-hmm.
do something with Neuralink and Starlink, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
going to make people say, "Nah, I want to be in the Matrix. I want to do that Matrix. I want to do some. I want to do what Neo did." You know, they might have some Neuralink mixed with OpenClaw, where you could basically, because right now in the world of AI with Anthropic, they're doing the equivalent of what Neo and Morpheus was doing in that white room, where Neo was like, "Yo, I don't know how to do karate," and Morpheus was like, "Pull up the karate file or pull up the karate skill, download it. Now you do karate." That's what Anthropic Claude is doing right now. I could download any skill that I want. I could make video. I could make a video while I'm talking to you right now. I could edit a whole video and just tell Claude to do it. Yo, Claude, pull up Remotion, edit my video. I want it to look like this. I want it to look like Hype Williams, and just press enter. So we're in that phase right now. So what is 5 years gonna look like? They're gonna be able to. So now they got the humanoid robots. So the humanoid robots that are walking in people's houses, that are like patrolling. They got the cops in China just rolled out the humanoid robot. Atlanta just signed a whole thing where they're gonna have humanoid robots, drones, and robo dogs. They're about to drop. They're gonna embody it with the agents. They're gonna embody it with like vision. They're gonna embody it with memory. They're gonna embody it with like a brain, and it's on. And then after they embody the robots, then they're going to introduce it to human beings and saying, you know, you could get this too. And of course, for the people who grew up digitized, or they already grew up groomed to be very digitally inclined, they're going to line up for it.
Yeah, I think wow, I mean it's very interesting, Red, because you can see you know, us just talking about everything, whether it's transhumanism, whether it's the robots, whether it's AI, whether it's you know, the family not being traditional anymore. There's so many factors adding up where people are very desperate to, I guess, have family or to have tribe, and
Yes.
they're going to be presenting us with offers. They're going to be like, yo, you could do this, you could do that, you could do this. So
Yes.
yeah, we live in those times. You know something, and I heard you talk about this before. Just, you know, the family, the traditional family is going to be so rare. When people see somebody with a family, they're going to be like, wow, you got a family. It's
Right.
like I even noticed, you mentioned this, I even noticed, like how you said, just in the consciousness, the spiritual community online, there's a huge, there's a lot of lesbians in the conscious space right now. I mean, a large, and I guess the whole divine feminism concept and that
In the
energy,
Aquarian age.
that's an attractive thing for them to think about, you know, divine femininity and embracing sisterhood, I guess. But so many lesbians in this space where you used to think family was the goal. After everything, family ain't even the goal no more, because a lot of them don't even want family because they're lesbians. So I don't,
They getting the babies in the tube.
back to the tube, back
Yeah,
to the in
that's
vitro, back to
that's
the
the client. That's the
back to that.
clientele.
That's the client,
Yeah.
right? So back to that, they could, you know. So yeah, it's very interesting times that we live in, Red. Very interesting.
Right. You know, I wouldn't act surprised. I do come to terms with the fact that we're in a certain type of age, which
Hmm.
was predicted. The fluidity of this age, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? This age was predicted to be very fluid.
Hmm.
Um, you know, and it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't condone or condemn. You feel me? But I observe. I see it.
Yeah.
What I have been, what I had an adversity to was the praying aspect. When you
Oh, they're
see
predators.
the
Oh, they're
predator,
predators,
right?
Red.
The
Oh, they
predator,
are predators. They will prey on
yeah.
your wife.
Alien versus predator. You
They
know what
are
I'm talking about?
predators.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I'm having scenes
Oh no.
of Bill Duke and Predator with the razor on his face, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I see when I see the predatory acts, then I get kind of triggered. But you know, other than that, yeah, it is what it is. It went from, you know what happened? It was like a poly thing. That was like the poly thing at first. It was like mad women with one dude, and then the dude disappeared. Like you know what I mean? Like then the dude start, then they just start popping up without the dude.
Yeah, when you, yeah, that, yeah, it's you know, whenever you see the poly thing, you know them girls is eating each other's box out. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying all the time, but a large percentage of the time when you hear about this poly thing, girls is eating each other pussy. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean to be so, no, so, you know,
Right.
blunt, but yeah,
Um,
well, you know, you could say, somebody said like polite. I mean, you
it
know, I
was,
mean, I
yeah,
don't.
for observers, like I'm an observer, right? I'm a Scorpio, so we pick up on things that deal with
Mm,
that realm a lot, right? We can't even avoid it. We see it. It's almost like you see things that you don't want to see, but because of your power and whatnot, you'll not only see it, I feel it, I could hear it,
mhm.
I could, you know, I vision it. And you know, I remember there was a movement in the community that began popularizing online in the beginning of live streaming, right? Because live streaming was a thing before. You had to upload your videos. Then they
Yeah.
started allowing people to live stream. Live stream opened up reality television.
Mm,
Reality television was the fact that people were now showing their lifestyles to the world. Prior to that, we didn't necessarily engage or indulge in that type of, you wasn't necessarily like Sinetta would show you he's in his living room interviewing people on the couch, and you knew who his wife was and stuff like that, but we didn't, it wasn't reality television. King Noble started reality television, and I would say on the edge reality television, because they'll bring up Nature Boy, but King Noble came first with the black supremacy thing. You know what I mean? And and they were doing things that were considered at that time haram. You know what I mean? They were doing things that were considered to be at that time cult-like. You feel me? And one of the things about when you expose that to the world with no filter, you somewhat no, you're going to create. You're going to create. It's almost like the gremlin effect. You're going to create more gremlins.
Right. Did you see the Nature Boy documentary on Hulu? Did you see it?
Emphatically, nah.
Okay, so you're not watching it. You refuse to watch. Is that what it is? You refuse to watch it, or
I'm eventually catch it. I'm not finna give Hulu no money on that. That was where I drew the line. I was like, nah, I ain't putting no. I'm not putting no snaps on that Petro. You know what I'm talking about?
right?
I saw them. I asked somebody that saw it how accurate it was, and they left out some of the important parts that would make this. And I say, yeah, I'm good on certain things because it's an outsider telling the story, and they're giving it their perspective, and I do like those because I seen a polite series, and homie was hitting a lot of things on the head, but it's just certain things that it's like certain insider information, or there'll be certain things that don't get mentioned that I'm like, y'all are kind of reinterpreting history, But that's a cautionary tale. I would say outside of people watching that documentary to sip the tea, watch that documentary and then go into the community and identify where you see that shit happening right now. How about that? Yeah, how about that? How about you watch the documentary so you could discern and you could pick up on certain things, and then you use that new set of eyes and you take your ass online, you go on TikTok, you go on IG, and you go on YouTube, and you find out where that shit is going on right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Because it's happening right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. How about that? Because like I said, everything is everything is evolving. It's all devolving for that matter. There's a cruddy ass corner of YouTube. There's a Bowery Street on YouTube where vagabonds hang out. There's
a Bowery Street.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. So people remember, you eat with your eyes, you eat with your ears, you eat with your mouth. If you don't have a filter system, if you don't have something to balance that against, there was people that got exposed to homies movement and they didn't have a master teacher to balance that against. They didn't know about this channel. They didn't know about what clean consciousness looked like. They didn't know that there was a spectrum. So all they did was eat that up. But what about them? You know what I'm talking about? How are they dealing with shit right now? Because their morality was stripped away. They see things different than how we see things. They be like, nah, having my toes licked by my followers is not bad. Because when I seen it happen, I was kind of excited about that.
I just go ahead. I ain't even gonna say it.
Nah, you good.
I just heard about some weird shit like that. Like literally last week, a brother was telling me about somebody having a fetish of having his feet kissed and shit like that.
Sister Myra, right? Sister Myra has come on this show multiple times and said one of the original sins is the abuse of the power. Now, if somebody has a kink or they have what we call proclivities, at the end of the day, like I said, I'm not the proclivity police. You feel me? I ain't the proclivity police. But there's a line that so many people have crossed that has cost them not just their freedom, but their legacy, right?
Yeah.
and they're quote unquote, and they have affected the people who looked up to them, who believed in them. They have destroyed hearts and minds of millions of unsuspecting people for no reason. I see that as quote unquote that's worse than what a European could do. Because when you think about it, for the whole run of what we've been doing, no European has ever crossed the line. We be talking about them, but it's not like they're inside of the house breaking the dishes and messing things up. We're always talking about the shit that they're doing outside the house. These niggas is in our house.
Right, got you. Okay, good, great
It
point,
hit
right?
different.
Great point. Yeah.
Yeah, it hit different. So it starts to feel personal. You
Mm.
know how many times I had to sit down and meditate, and I had to put myself back together because people in this community let me down for the things that just seeing them die on these hills that they dying on.
Hmm.
I don't find joy in that. Even in my enemies, sometimes I don't find joy in that. It's just like, damn, because I'm not even really thinking about them. I'm thinking about what about those women that I saw in the audience that was watching you? They brought their children to see you and whatnot. What about all of the people that used to stop me when I go around the world and ask me about you? What about them, bro? You know what I'm talking about? You destroyed their whole experience. So yeah.
Yeah, Farrakhan. I learned from Farrakhan never laugh at anybody's downfall, whether they're an enemy or not. So I don't even participate in that energy where enemy, you could have wished death on me on YouTube Live. I just, I'm not laughing at you. Now I just, it's whatever. I
Yeah.
just, I just
I'm in the
keep it moving.
audience. You know what I'm talking? Yeah, like, you know, I will put you on a blunt, Rudolph Giuliani.
Oh, the yeah, you be what they call that? What the smokers call that? What's that called?
Man, yeah, that Zapac.
Now when somebody like when Charlie Kirk passed away, you was like I'm smoking on that
Yeah, on that op pack, on that Oppington pack. Yeah, you get put in a pack. Yeah, that pack. You get put in a pack if you are op. But other than that, when it comes to certain things, yeah, I don't relish in people's unfortunate downfalls. I take that as a lesson.
Indeed. Yeah, it's very. Somebody brought up a good point. It's 2026. I remember back in shit. This was like I was living in Brooklyn. This was
Mm-hmm.
probably about 2018, and we were hearing about the Russian bots and all of these bots going on Brother Polite's page and different people's page and talk. The online thing is so messy because you can't see anybody. So it's just like Red said, a lot of discernment has to be had, and I mean it's these
So,
streets, these digital streets ain't no joke out here, y'all.
oh my
I would say
goodness.
that these digital streets.
Sometimes I wish I didn't know the things that I know because you're responsible for what you know. So the more I'm studying the technology and I'm going down these and I'm learning about APIs and scrapers and CLIs and MCPs, LLMs, when I go into some of these Telegram rooms or these Discord rooms, and I'm like, yo, the technology is so crazy right now that the terror that a bad actor could unleash. You feel me? Like if this gets in the wrong hands, they're going to treat, you know what I mean? It's just gonna go. They've been going crazy. They're gonna go nuclear, bro.
Mm,
So yeah, it's crazy. The things that can be done right now. Like I got a clawbot right here. I got my clawbot. The clawbot could spawn it could spawn thousands of agents. So I could have agents just hitting different people up on some scam. You know what I mean? Like the same way that they was hitting my inbox, caught me for $500. You know what I
mm,
mean? I thought it was my homegirl Jackie Rowe, caught me clean, took me
mm.
right up out of right up out of cash. Yeah, they got me right up out of 500, and I was sick after that. Yeah, I was sick because I called up Cash App like, yo, it was like, nah, fam, you got.
Yo, bro,
And I never thought it could happen to me.
damn.
I never thought it could happen to me. But these bad actors right now, what they call these scammers, With the technology that's out, with the LLMs and with things being automated, you could set up a whole automation. Yeah, y'all got to be very careful. Cross all T's, dot all I's. Even if somebody call you up and it sound like the fam, you got to ask them that kind of question and be like, "Yo, what was the dog's first? What was my first dog's name?"
Right. That's a big one too now. They know how to replicate the voices.
I could clone
So
voices.
the clone your voice.
I
Yeah.
could, not only could you clone a voice, you could deep fake any person in the world. I could get on Zoom as anybody. So there's just certain
Same.
curtains that you don't want to go behind and deal with that because it's like there's bad actors and there's good actors in this space, but the bad actors are acting right now because look at the economy. Like they're pushing people into these places where they're becoming wild desperate. All I had to do is travel around when I left America and seeing what that shit looked like outside of America, bro.
Mhm.
You can't. Yeah, you they are gonna run up. You listen. America's the ops for them, not the ops. America is the that's the farm. That's where that it's the marketplace
Right.
for both underworld shit and above the water. That's why you see China and all of them in India. Everybody's selling something to Americans because the American dollar and the way that we're living over here, they're not living like that in other places. Did you see I Show Speed? He's showing you, you know what I mean? No disrespect. I'm loving it. It's beautiful what I'm seeing and whatnot. But these places are not like America in terms of the power of their currency. Not how they're living. It's the power of their currency. That's what's in. That's what I went to Colombia. My dollar was on Hercules.
Mm.
Yeah, my dollar was on Hercules, bro. They was trying
Mm.
to get that. Yeah, they was raising all the prices on me. For real,
Hmm.
for real.
What Red? What's the deal with these? Because like once again, shout out to everybody in the chat. We got about 1,500 people. Me and Red, we decoding some signs going on in 2026. Red is keeping us up to date. I know it's hard for a lot of y'all just to hear you keep up with all this shit. So
Going.
much going on. But Red be doing it on his channel big time. So I'm like, let me get Red on here. Let us know exactly what's going on out there with the with these hot topics that are on the internet. Red, what's the deal? We talked about Iran a little bit with these Lego animations that are popping up all over the place. Are they really from Iran? Are they propaganda? I mean, they had one with Malcolm X, I think, and we're like,
Yeah, yeah,
what's the
yeah.
deal with these Lego animations, Red?
I would say the most in this war when it goes down in history and they talk about what was the most quote unquote effective form of warfare, they're gonna point to the Lego movies, yo.
You serious? You think
Yes,
so?
yes, because the Lego movies hit faster than the hypersonic missiles. The
Mm.
Lego movies did more damage than the hypersonic missiles, bro. They effectively utilize AI as a tool of propaganda, but against the king of propaganda, right? America had a monopoly on animation, on all things film, on everything. Remember, America's biggest export is animation, film, cartoons, rap music, Legos, all of their propriety. But because we live in this new day and time where it's a global thing and all of this shit about IP and all of that went out the window and whatnot, they flipped it on America, and every single Lego drop is it's like a conspiracy hyper bomb. They've been able to reach children like this. They've been able to reach Africans, Indians, Japanese, South Koreans. Everybody speaks that language.
Mm.
Women, men, elders, babies. Everybody speaks the Lego language, right? Because remember, Lego had the movie on Pharrell. Lego had the movie on some other things. Lego is a staple. So they doing shit about Ball, Erica Kirk, black people being kings, the Indians. I think I seen Top Cat in one of the videos. Bam, they're going in. And
Yo.
there's two accounts that are really responsible for the main ones. And yes, those are Iranians and whatnot off of TikTok. I went and saw somebody did the research on them, and they were showing who they are. But of course, they have people who are definitely copycatting them now. America don't got no response. The White House was putting out corny AI compared to this.
Yeah.
So they've been shamed around the world by their quote unquote ops who are fighting a war of ideologies. They're fighting them in a war of ideas and concepts. Remember, they killed their supreme spiritual leader. This is a spiritual war. This has nothing to do with what you think it is. It's not what you think it is. It is a spiritual war. And when you're dealing with a spiritual war, you're dealing with ideas and concepts and narratives in the mind. Mental warfare. They're washing these niggas up. Somebody in the audience said, who said that we winning? Well, G.I. Joe, your ass ain't winning. You're getting washed. How about that? You're getting washed on all levels and all fronts. Okay? They got belt to ass, foot to neck, and they're doing it on multiple levels and multiple rounds. So this is the new form of warfare. I would activate my warriors out there to pick up the Legos, nigga, and build something and take your shot. You know what I'm saying? Launch your motherfucking missile, because I don't know why. I don't know where the troops are at. I seen the other people activated, but it's still crickets over here. Nobody want to throw a shot. You know? But at this point in the thing, it's kind of wise to kind of sit back and observe the enemy of my enemy. You let them do what they do, because they sat back and let you niggas fight each other and sat back and made money off of it and laughed at you. They let you Mandingo wrestle while they ate Skittles. So let these people, they both thieves. Them people that's in Persia, not the original Persians. They purged the original Persians. Woo! You know what I'm saying? Them people in Palestine purged the original Palestine. Them people was blue black in Jerusalem. Just in the 1930s and 20s, man. So yeah, everybody getting a lick back. Big Mama is putting all of these people in a playground, and they out here knocking each other's heads off, and we sitting over here getting sunbathing. You know what I'm talking about? Sunbathing, grounding. You know what I'm talking about? Hair growing, edges growing back, people getting blowing up. That part. Using the technology to boss up, firing our bosses and whatnot, getting our land back, getting our properties back. They got exposed for the land theft in Brooklyn just now. The small hats is on the run. They listening, y'all. Y'all juice boxes. Y'all messed up. Y'all got Brooklyn against y'all now. The clock is ticking. New York caught on to y'all through this property thief thing, because y'all fangs came out. So yeah, they about to pack them up in New York too. They on a run everywhere. How about that? Think about it. Them niggas is scattering. So there's a play going on right now, and we kind of gotta, like, you know, if this is the game of chess, we gotta make sure that they get checkmated, because they are scattering. But they wanna try to consolidate, so they're gonna play a few last plays. But we up by 100.
Yo, and I just wanted to, as you know, we just talked about the that was a great, excellent breakdown, and just keeping us up to date with all of this, Red. You're doing, you know, I meant to text you, I think it was a week or two ago, and just tell you, yo, you're doing a great job out there with the whole AI thing. I want to give a big shout out, family, because to a brother named Original Black God. So on the whole internet, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, if you're talking about AI videos and talking about history and making use of it in terms of consciousness, this brother in the whole world, he's the top dog.
Yes, and
People
they notice
sending me
it.
his videos all over. I'm like, yo, that's a dude who did the radio cigar commercial. And they're like, word. They're like, yo, how you know him? I was like, he was in Red Pill's class. So we got we doing our thing, family, and we are putting people on, and people are making change. I mean, this brother's videos has millions of views all over the world. He's doing an major job. He's using AI to its full benefit, and that's because the brother Red Pill started the fantasy complex industry, made it possible for us to get into AI and to learn about it. So I want to give a clap, give us a applause for all of us in the work we doing, y'all, for following and supporting everybody who supported the AI masterclass
Oh man.
workshop. But we got to keep doing things like that. We got to keep this. This is a young brother. Brother, he sound like he like in his early 20s or something. Brother sound mad young. So
Yeah.
shout out to that brother,
Shout out to
original, yeah,
OBG.
OBG, original
Feel
black
me?
guy.
We had a great conversation with him. We're gonna be doing some. We actually have an event coming up in Miami at the end of the month. But yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, I'm glad, with that. I want to get some questions from y'all. So give me some. There's always a sign that I get whether a show is real good or not. It depends on my energy level from when I started the show to at the end of the show. And I'm hyped now. I'm super energized, man. It was good having this conversation with Red Pill, and I hope y'all uh feel good. Like let them fight, let them do what they do.
yeah.
Get your ones up. And when I say ones, not just your money, but mentally, do your study and reading. Just keep getting sharp, y'all,
Keep
because
healing. Right.
yeah,
Keep healing. I'm being active with my healing. I got a lot of work to go. You feel me? I'm a work in progress, but I say keep healing. Stay down, stay with your people, stay with your folk. You know what I'm talking about? Go even if it's the most challenging thing that you probably ever face, you know what I mean? Just stay down, you know what I mean? Stay plugged in. Appreciate your folks while they're here. And yeah, man. Just
somebody in the chat, Red, said, so do we just say F the planet? No,
wow.
the point we're trying to make is that the world is yours at this. The world has always been yours, but it's up for grabs right now, y'all. The
Yeah. My
tides
thing
is
is this,
different.
right? If what a time to be aligned. I don't
Mhm.
expect everybody to see the world through rose-colored glasses and whatnot. Some people see the glass half empty. Some people see the glass half full. But God damn it, I think Stevie Wonder could see that this bitch is moving in our favor and whatnot. And if you stay down and if you stay active and whatnot, in about 5 to 10 years, you're going to be living in a completely new timeline, and the world will completely shift to where it is, your frequency and your quote unquote your tribe, in your nation and whatnot. You may have to wake up to the sad fact that everybody that look like you ain't a part of your nation. You might have to be realized that everybody that look like you wasn't even human. You know what I'm talking about? Certain things gonna have to happen so you are more aware of everything that has been taking place in front of you, and you probably didn't realize it. That's what plant-based healing will help you with. You have to be able to lift the veil. You have to be able to be brave enough and courageous enough. If it's not plant based, your ass needs to do some breathing, some deep breathing, some fire breaths. Get to the place where you are secreting some type of DMT and you are disrupting what is known as DMN,
Damn, what's that?
default mode network. That's the default mode that all of our brains are in, that has us thinking that this wall is you can't walk through the wall, you can't fly, water's wet and all of this other stuff. Default mode network. When you get into some type of deep meditation or any type of brain activity, what happens is those default modes begin to disseminate, and you know what I mean, and things begin, certain parts of the brain start talking to other parts of the brain. The best way that I could use it as an example is, all right, remember when we was all in school, we would have students in English class, we would have students in science class, we would have students in math class, we would have students in art class. those are the same thing that how your brain is operating in default mode network. All of these things are in certain classrooms. But when the bell would ring and everybody would go into the hallway to go into other classes, that's when you tap into either the boomies, that's when you tap into any of the plant-based, that's when you tap into the deep breathing, and certain parts of your brains communicate with other parts. That's when all of this shit fades away.
Mm.
And you see what you need to see, because how are you on this journey blind? And I'm not, I'm you know, I'm speaking to myself as well, but I'm speaking about meditation, deep thinking, astral traveling, things of that nature that is going to help with the healing. Because at the end of the day, just being who we are, we got to heal from that. You know, the healing is the peeling, right? It's healing is the peeling of the layers. You know, some people don't even want to heal because they don't want to even, they think that by saying that I'm going to heal is admitting that you're traumatized or something is going on. And it's like, nah, this quest that we're on called spirituality or occultism or whatever you want to call it, consciousness, whatever the journey is, right? There's going to have to be a layer of a peeling of the layers, a killing of the ego, a death of the ego, an unraveling, a detachment ritual, a rites of passage. Something has to take place in order for you to get to these different levels, similar to where when we was in school, we had to go through graduation ceremony to get to the next grade.
You know, and I want to say something real quick, Red. In terms of the whole healing, because that's a very popular topic in the spirit, not just in the spiritual community, but on the internet as well.
Yeah.
Healing yourself, and you know, the plant medicine and the biohacking and
Yeah.
all of that, all of those things. And I feel as though that you know, we all been through what we've been through individually, Red. And I don't think I will ever heal 100% with everything I've been through in my life.
Right.
And something Kirk Franklin said, and you could, this is why you listen to people, because you can learn from anybody.
Right.
He said something that always stuck with me, and I think it pertains to my life, and it pertains to a lot of us. He said, you got to learn to win wounded.
Yeah.
He said, you got to learn to win wounded. So, and
The wind healed the wound.
hold on, Red. The reason, this is the reason why I said this. Check this out, Red. Because people, check this out, Red. People feel as though if they don't heal 100%, then they just give up. They're like, oh, shit, there's no need for me to keep trying because, you know, whatever. But you got to learn to win wounded out here, Red.
Yes.
You got to learn to win wounded out here, man.
Yes. Healing is a marathon and not a race. There is no end to healing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember, I will be peeling, I will be revealing, and I will be healing until I walk through that portal. It's my movement that is healing me, Rich. If I was stagnant and scared to move, and I didn't go live, and I didn't tell the news because I was scared of what I was, oh my goodness, it's so terrifying. I can't talk about this. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna hide. If that me going forward is me actively going and walking into my shadow, walking into my healing, because at the end of the day, I don't even know what healing even means. I don't even know what to reach the end of healing even looks like. But what I do know is that there's a version of myself that I need to meet. And what I do know is that there's been incidences where I've waken up and I went right back to sleep. You understand? There's situations where I woke, where I was like awake for a minute and I felt something that I've never felt while I was in the sleeping state.
Yes, good, right, good.
So some of us we don't even know what it is to live because we haven't woken up yet to discover ourselves. There's a point where you're going to discover something about yourself that you never in your life discovered before. And it's going to blow your mind. It's called the omnipotent omnipresentness of the one. So yeah.
No, definitely.
And I'm sorry to cut your wisdom.
Yeah, brother.
And the healing that I was able to participate in is simply called neuroplasticity. right? The
Mm-hmm.
reconnecting of synapses in my brain, like bridges that have been burnt and whatnot, roadways that have been paved over, were able to reconnect. You feel me? And then I was able to remember again, and certain things that were kind of shut off were turned back on. Neuroplasticity, that's a healing effect.
Yeah, no, that's a fact.
Yeah,
That's a fact. Minister Jew family talks about that a lot. The neuroplasticity,
right,
But
right,
yeah, shout out once again. Shout out to I love to give credit when somebody's able to inspire me.
right. Shout out to Minister
Inspiration is
Jew.
very important. But yeah, shout out to Kirk Franklin. We got to learn to win wounded. And I don't know a lot of things that's going to happen, but family, I
Can I
know I'm a
add on to
win.
that?
Yeah, go ahead, brother. Yeah.
So the wounded warrior, right?
Mm-hmm.
The wounded warrior, right? The warrior who continues to fight even when wounded, right? And the warrior that's looking, because they say, who heals the healer? You know, who heals the healer? The other day we did an event in North Carolina, right? Called the 72 Claws. We were doing 72 hours in a boot camp, and I booked a group of sisters out of Charlotte who do Reiki and whatnot, right? And they were able to come through and do some work on me because you were there when I was at my son's party and I sustained an injury, you know?
Right. The
And
the kids were beating you up, Red. The kids were being, the kids was being read up. It was funny, y'all.
oh man, shout out to Sister Asha. um, they were able to come through and do a Reiki exercise on me. And when I tell the family, I literally was about to book an appointment to get an X-ray after that boot camp because it was about 2 weeks since I slipped and hit my ribs on like the edge of this quote unquote like the pit with the balls in it. And I thought my rib was broken. After the Reiki exercise, 2 days later, I forgot that I even had pain, right? Who heals the healers? They put healing hands on me. I literally was in a trance. When they were surrounding me, working on me, I was in a completely different space, bro. I felt like I was in another portal or something. And I felt the energy working all over my body. So I say that to say that so many of us need healing. So many of us need healing hands. So many of us need a shoulder to cry on. So many of us need somebody that we could just build with and talk to and heal with. You know what I mean? Not trauma bond, not dump trauma on people who have been trained to work with other people and deal and transmute and help them with their path and whatnot. Because sometimes some of us are unhealed because we won't let go of certain things that are traumatizing us from our past. And one of the things that I want to give a big ups to Minister Jew about, and another thing that I want to say that AI has also helped me do, with AI, I can manipulate my timeline now because I could take baby pictures. I took pictures. I got pictures of one of my deceased friends, right? Tone Capone and whatnot. His sister just sent me a whole bunch of his pictures. So I upscaled them, I cleaned them up, I made them 4K and whatnot. Then I got voicemails of him. So now I got videos where he's moving and talking and whatnot. What is that doing? It's healing me because ever since 1994, I was a wound. I was falling. I was failing forward, and I was a wounded healer because that hole in my heart would have never closed and whatnot. But now with the AI, they say if you could go back in time and change a certain situation that has traumatized you, you could in the future change the future. You build that neural path, you could disrupt these traumatic events by doing what? By utilizing photorealistic technology to manipulate your subconscious because it don't know real from fake. It don't know REEL from REAL. So this is a new form of therapy, psychotherapy that we're dealing with. And also manifestation through the tools like C Dance, because now I could generate a video of me that looks exactly like me. Napoleon Hill said, if you want to do something, if you want to be something, and if you want to create something, you have to put yourself mentally in that place. You want a Bentley, you got to smell Bentley leather and see yourself driving a Bentley. So what do we do right now? We driving a Bentley. Shout out to Tariq Bey with Psycho Cinematics. That's another one of the students who popped out and made a tool and whatnot. He has a tool where you could put yourself in your own movie and you're winning. You're winning. You're not losing. You're getting revenge on the people that did you wrong. You're talking to deceased loved ones, and your credit is 850. And he said ever since that he made a movie about himself, he just got signed. I don't want to put his business out there. He got signed to a famous actor's production company to do AI microdramas, you know, based off of what he's doing. His life changed. So yeah, this is
Yeah, he literally because that's the brother putting together my music app. He was just telling me about the microdrama yesterday.
you feel
And
me?
and the famous actor who put him down. So yeah, shout out to that brother right there.
A big actor, A-lister.
Yeah, A-lister.
A-lister. So it's like
Mhm.
he did a video where his credit was good. He was counting out big dollars. Right after that, he
Oh shit, Red, you right. Oh, you know what? I was
Remember?
looking for some. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, he manifested that
He
shit.
manifested that. He said he didn't have that, but
Shit.
he ain't had no contracts like that. Nobody was checking for him like that.
Yo,
Now
Red. Oh shit. Yo, when he started doing my app, he was like, "Yo, Rich." All right, so he's doing my app, and he's like, "Yo, Rich, just I want you to check out something. If it resonates with you, I want you to help me promote it. You know,
yeah,
once I finish the app and things like that." I'm like, "Let me check it out. Yeah, let me check it out. Let me see what if let me see if I fuck with it." I seen. It, I was like, "Yo, this is groundbreaking." I said, me and Red was talking about this very thing during our AI workshop about
right,
advanced visualization boards.
right,
That's
right.
essentially what it is.
That's what it is.
And she showed me it, and he was like counting the money and this and that. And fast forward, I forgot he got into the neural cinematics. So it really, wow. Wait
Yeah,
till
Napoleon
man.
Hill. That's why I came out
Oh
with a book from
shit.
Napoleon Hill.
It worked
Matter of
for the
fact,
brother.
all of the students from the
That's
workshop, I gave y'all a free book about manifestation, and go check that out. It was the pink book from Napoleon Hill. Yeah.
Wait till y'all see what this brother put together with neural
Oh man,
cinematics. He put
cinema
together
is
something
powerful.
amazing. I'll probably debut it on the channel in about a month or something like,
Yeah, yeah.
but
So things are moving,
that's
man.
dope.
Healing is
I
taking
love hearing
place.
those
Yeah,
stories.
healing is taking place. I want to shout out to all of the Reiki practitioners, all of the quote unquote healers that are out there. Y'all are, I think that y'all are very, very vital, of utmost importance. Um, Princess Mother Love, the Rappers Delight, the people that are rapping the copper to help with energy, the ones that are doing energy work, all of that. You know what I'm saying? The ones that are doing iridology, all kind of things. Like everything is essential right now, because if you want to be a super sapien, if you want to tap into that Simeon Toko gene and whatnot, if you want to activate, if you want, if you want those neutrinos to activate you, it would benefit you to build up your auric field. It would benefit you to build up your quote unquote chi. You know what I mean? It would definitely benefit you to get right now, because what a time to be aligned.
Mm-hmm.
What a time to be. You can't ignore the signs.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't got to be religious right now in order to walk straight. You don't have to have nobody on your neck to tell you to walk straight. If you can't feel it, if you can't just look in popular culture and see how everybody, you can't, the people's dirty laundry is coming out, people being exposed, email troves are dropping, everybody's dirty laundry is getting exposed. You don't want to be a part of that.
Side note, and I want to get to some questions, Red, but my sister was texting me something.
So good.
I
Yeah,
would,
good.
because we was talking about what you had mentioned a little earlier. about going to your past. I think you was talking about healing. You talked about going to
Right,
your
going
past.
back into your
Yeah,
past,
you know,
and somewhat manipulating situations that have you, there's certain situations that we buried and whatnot that are so traumatizing that we forget all about.
what I know you are in the history and very well researched in the different land masses and things. Where does the last name because my sister was sending me something about we was looking up our ancestry
Yeah.
and I think I mentioned this before on the channel. We got back as far as Grimes. Where does that name? Where does that name come from? Does that name is that
Grimes.
Grimes?
GRIMES.
Grimes. Grimes. I got back my. I don't know if it would be my great 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 grandmother. It's all the way from 1840, but her name was
That's dope.
Mariah Grimes.
That's dope.
Yeah, Mariah. Grimes.
Mariah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mariah Grimes. I'm just trying to but I'm trying to do the research, family. If you where does Grimes come from, family? I think somebody told me that last time. Irish.
Irish.
Somebody said Irish last time.
Right. There's an artist named Grimes, right?
Oh, that's the UK, dude,
In the
right?
UK. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
as for the nationality or the ethnicity that the Grimes bloodline comes from, I'm not too sure. I can't necessarily say off the top that the Grimes. It sounds European though.
yeah.
It's definitely a European surname.
Everybody keeps saying Irish.
Irish. Okay, so yeah, Irish origin.
It was that was like there was a lot of black people in Ireland at that time,
Of
right?
course,
Or
of course. Irish. That's us, man. That's definitely our people's origins going back there.
yeah, indeed. Let's yeah, let me know if y'all whatever y'all I'm gonna be looking at the chat, but
We were just talking about the books last night on my show, J.A. Rogers.
oh yeah.
Talking about, yeah, all of these ancient Britons, volume 1 and 2. We were just given certain books that are like essential reading for people that are coming in, to the movement and whatnot, to put them in a certain, to prime them for certain information that they'll be receiving through the scholars.
Right, right, right. Let me let's get to yeah, the Black Irish, huh? Somebody
Mhm.
said Mariah Grimes was my great grandmother's sister's name. Wow. Yeah, I mean, shit. Yeah,
So,
I might be related to some of y'all in the chat. You know what I'm saying?
I
So
met a relative like 2 years ago. Off, you know what I mean?
yeah.
I'm meeting relatives to this. Yeah, yeah, just a close relative too, bro.
Mm. No, indeed, indeed. Um, let's get to some questions. I think I seen something. Somebody want okay, this is another thing that's been in the news lately, Red. What does this mean that they revoked the 1965 Voters' Right Act? What's going on? I don't keep up with that much, Red. What is going on with politics and what's going on with that, Red?
Oh man, they just they rolling things back. It's a part of the Project 2030 playbook, put together by Voight, put together by the Heritage Foundation and whatnot. Trump using his Supreme Court appointees and whatnot to dismantle everything that was put together for melanated people piece by piece. Melanated people, that's a sign that there has to be a shift in terms of how we identify one another, our status overall, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they're dismantling all of that stuff. It is
Mm.
no surprise. It's already in the writing. I can't act surprised when I see things that I read about before Trump was even president. Like I read damn near the whole 700 pages, and I ran it through the AI and put together a whole quiz on, you know what I mean? Like they are doing what they said that they was gonna do, you know? So people acting surprised are in that theater, and I don't necessarily play in that theater.
See, I told you, Rez, I might know someone. Somebody said, hold up.
Family member?
Yes, Branchville, South Carolina. That's
Okay.
exactly you hit the bullseye. That's exactly where she's from. I'm
Wow.
looking at the text right now from my sister that says Branchville. I ain't gonna show you all of that, but Branchville, South Carolina. Like I'm, that's what?
Small world.
Yeah, small world. What's up with you, Jay Brown? Because
And the internet connects us
yeah,
in ways that we weren't connected before.
Jay Brown, what you know? What you know about Jay Brown? What do you know about Mariah Grimes from Branchville, South Carolina? And while I wait for you to talk, we gonna answer that.
That's healing in real time. I don't mean to cut your wisdom, but look at spirit work.
No,
Look at
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. She wants to be. Look at her. Look at that. This is not random. This is not haphazard. This is healing in real time. And when we say healing, we just mean building
That's
bridges back. Because when we are questioning things and when we are in the limbo or when we are lost, we're not fully put back together. So by him even saying, "Yo, I know who that is," that's a bridge. That's a layer. That's a foundation that just got laid on his journey in his quest to heal his family tree and to put it back together.
okay. Okay. Jay Brown said my family from Mount Pleasant. I heard you say that. Okay. Yeah, because it went from Grimes and I think it turned to Myers. I think her daughter married somebody, so it went from Grimes to Myers to then I think it became eventually became Merritt, from Myers to Merritt or Brown. I forget. It's like Grimes, Myers, Brown, then the
Right.
The Merritt is when I come along. So, but
Mhm.
yeah, if y'all somebody said I'm here now doing the work, yeah. Yeah, let me know, y'all. But I think, yeah, this is just like Red said, this is healing in real time. But let's keep this thing moving with yeah, shout out to Top Cat. I gotta give that brother a call. I haven't talked to Top Cat in a while. Another thing, okay, so in a couple of weeks, in about 2 weeks, I'm gonna make a big announcement. So I just want, I want the tribe got to meet up again. It's about coming to that time again. It's been a long time. But save your money, y'all. I got a good announcement. I got a good announcement coming in a couple of weeks. A nice one, a nice one. Very, very interesting. You see the technology that we're talking about with the neural cinematics. It's tied in somewhat to that. It's always been an interest of mine with this quantum. We're talking to Jew throughout the years, Neville Goddard, but I got something interesting that I'm gonna be presenting to the family. So, have your ones up, and I'm gonna in about 2 weeks or something like that. I'm gonna have a nice announcement for y'all, for the family to get up with each other again, family. So yeah, just
Yeah.
wanted to tell y'all right now. Uh Let me see. I'm trying to. Everybody's just talking. We got the chat talking.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody said we should do a live AI recent ancestry show. How would that work, Red? An ancestry show? How would that work?
Well, there's deep research LLMs that we could
What?
run all of your information through and get
Oh
results in
shit!
real time.
What would be the best one for me to use, Red? Is
I
chat
would go to
chat?
I would go to nah, I would probably go to Claude, Anthropic Claude.
So what?
You
I
know what I
just
mean?
give them the name.
Yeah, you give them everything that you know. You could upload the results of ancestry. You could say search all of the public records, do a deep research on all of the public records in that town that you speak of.
Yeah.
Every single town that you get the last names from, you would do a deep research in the registry, and it will search the newspaper, it will search the county records. It'll do everything for you in a very, very fast amount of time. I would
Mm.
do no Google Gemini, because Gemini is attached to Google. So I would go Google Gemini for the research, and I would go to Claude to basically do further research and a little more deep dive in. And then you got all of these skills and add-ons that would even like MCPs that would take it even further. But yeah, we do that in real time.
You know what always interests me, Red? How each time period has certain names that it just phases out and no longer gets used anymore. Like I had great uncle named Rufus. Like nobody's named Rufus anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like what happens in
Right.
societies where a name gets used for about 70 years and then after that nobody uses that name no more, that frequency no more. It's always
Right. Right.
yeah,
It's the
very
culture.
interesting. Huh? The culture,
It
right?
ties into the culture. You feel me? Because there was a culture that started naming people, Fantasia,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Quantavious, you know what I'm saying? Then they had that cult, they had that Black Panther era, or we call it era, so in certain eras, our people adapt to certain cultural norms and whatnot. So like in the 70s, when they had this Black Power, this revival of blackness and whatnot, you got Shaquita, you know what I'm saying? All of these Fruquans, you know what I mean? Then there was an era where the black man was tapped into the righteousness, knowledge of self and whatnot. So they was given
Mhm.
righteous names. Then there's an era where they're given, there's Peaches and Lexus, you know what I'm saying? They're giving ratchet cultural names. So throughout the cultures, different ages that spawn different titles and different names and whatnot.
Indeed. Hey, one more question for the J Brown dude. Do you have a Beulah in your family history? A Beulah, a Rufus, or a Charles? Let me know. Because you say your family left South Carolina, went to Jersey in the 50s. Let me know if you got a Beulah, a Charles that you know about, a Rufus, any of that. Let me know. Let's keep it going. The next question, man, they want to know, how do you feel about this year's Essence Festival in July after last year's scrutiny?
Yeah, I believe that homie lost his grip on that, the original organizer and whatnot. I saw an article where Vicky Diller put up where they sued during the Essence Fest, they were suing a black vendor. I will not participate in it one iota if they have anything to do with it. But I think I was told that people were anticipating the Essence Fest to boom this year because it traded hands, and I believe that another party was in charge. Don't quote me on that, but I did hear some. I'm trying to remember who it was, but whoever it was, I respected their call because they was like, "Nah, we going to Essence this year. We finna turn all of that around. That's behind us. We're not dealing with that no more. Just to bring back the essence of New Orleans, which happens to be on my list of cities that I visited on my top five. Top three with food, though. Definitely my top three. It might be even number two.
Right. Do you ever see Essence getting back to where they were before? Or do you think that's
Never,
mm,
never. Because of what happened in New Orleans, right? Because of what happened in New Orleans. I was in New Orleans for the Essence Fest in 2005. Thank God I was able to see it the last year before the year of Katrina.
mm,
I was affected by Katrina, which put me in New York, and that's where I met you.
mm-hmm.
If Katrina never happened, I probably would have been stayed in Miami. I wouldn't have came to New York, but I came to New York to do a song with Blue, and I wound up staying. But yeah, I was there. New Orleans was majestic. It was majestic. My mother was at the Jazz Fest, and she was telling me how the city has changed, the complexion of the city. And she was in an Ethiopian restaurant, and it was nothing but clear people in there.
Right.
Yeah, it's changed. So I don't know if it's gonna be the same. It is a staple, but we are in a new day, ladies and gentlemen. All of those old festivals and their old festivals, they're not making it through this new. We got to create new festivals. It's a time because we're on a new timeline. So by dragging some of these old festivals, it's like dragging old baggage. That's old memories. That's like back in my days. Don't You got to detach from certain things in order to let newer things come about.
How do speaking of the Essence and I seen something like a week ago, not a week, probably about 2 weeks ago with Al Sharpton, where he was upset that a young gentleman was at his national the NAACP what, not the NAACP, what's his thing called, the National Action Network, or
Yeah,
yeah, whatever it was. But a lot, I think, with the spirit of the whole FBA movement and the ADOS and this indigenous movement,
yeah,
it's surprising so many people, in terms like the older people, they didn't see it coming a mile away, and they're like, what are these niggas on? They're like, what do these niggas want? So
right.
it's like, it's so they're like, what? Because he went on, they're going, and another brother went to where Kamala Harris was, and he was talking that talk, and it's throwing them a lot of them off. And there's like a new spirit in Black Americans right now. What do you think will be the result of this new spirit versus the older blacks? And that could be Professor James Small, who may totally not understand what's going on right now, but the Al Sharptons, Professor James Small, and whoever else out there. What do you think is going to be the outcome with this new spirit in Black Americans versus the older generation who doesn't get why they are doing what they're doing, we're doing what we're doing? They just don't get it.
Yeah, I think that the new spirit is going to continue to be the new spirit, and it's going to continue to evolve. It's going to continue to grow. Um, there's going to it's going to force more research. You know what I mean? There's going to be more ephemera created, documentaries, movies, especially in this new age that we're in with the technology. You're going to get a little more, people are going to be able to crack more codes and go a little bit deeper based off of some of the restrictions. There's going to be things that are going to be released, like there were hidden, there were secret documents, unsealed documents, certain treaties. There's going to be certain type of procedures in court that's going to open things up. As I said, when we opened up the show, the eagle has landed. Like
Mm.
the man went to DC, New York City, Virginia. Like they needed two witnesses, Prince King Charles and his wife. They needed living witnesses to be there in order to enact this quote unquote ritual. They needed all of Congress to be in session. Everything worked out the way that it was supposed to. Ultimately, when it's all said and done, regardless of what anybody feels or regardless of what anybody says, it is going to turn around and we are going to be the benefactors of everything that's going to take place. There's nobody else that is going to touch. There's no one else that, nobody else is chosen to catch that. It's going to be our people and whatnot. So yeah, and they'll be, the elders will bear witness, and they'll be able to see, but they're also going to bear witness to the rise of the continent, and they're also going to bear witness to certain things that'll take place in their world, because they still live in their world, and in their world, and then the world that they live in, or the reality that they exist in and whatnot. They got motion, things are happening in that reality. The thing is that they're brushing up with a new reality, and because it's people that look like you and you think that that's your people and whatnot, but they exist in a different reality than you. And sometimes realities clash. It's not a bad thing, but it's just understanding that the world that I live in, the timeline that I live in, the reality that I live in and whatnot, I could be standing right next to somebody. I could be shoulder to shoulder with somebody. You live in a completely different reality. You live in a different timeline. You live in a different world than me. No judgment. Just, you know what I mean? Let's not conflict in our timelines.
The
Don't cross my timeline, you know, because that could cause a collision. Shout out to the legendary
yeah.
Top Cats. Bria.
Shout out to Top Cats. He's one of the individuals that is responsible for this energy that I'm talking about, that we're bearing witness to right now. Where he's been on the internet for years, and he made his debut on the channel last year with an explosive presentation. So this is one of the brothers that I'm talking about, who is coming with this new energy that the elders may not understand or
Right,
agree with.
right. Like Top Cat put the call out, and I had to go to Houston personally to stand
Yeah.
there with the God. You know what I mean? And that the rodeo movement, our people discovering the trails, the dance, how they got the trail movement, the horseback movement, and all of that is all a part of our people waking up to their indigenous self. Even Latin America, I Show Speed going around the Caribbean, that's tied into the waking up as well. That's tied into the grand awakening as well,
Yeah.
because it's a continent, and on this continent, right, the great empire, the vast empire, right, we are learning, and we are going to claim wealthy land, and the resources in that land, and all type of things. We one Lego movie away.
Hmm. Yo, you know something, and we got about. I don't want to keep you.
I don't mean to cut your wisdom, because
Yep.
they putting out Lego movies. But what if they put a book out? What if Persia put out a document from the 1100s? What if China opened up some vaults and let some books out? What if they gave you niggas hardcore evidence? They're giving you Lego movies, but they got hardcore evidence. Russia got hardcore evidence. Iran got hardcore evidence. I mean, there's a lot of people that took oaths to hide shit from us. But when is that? What happens when that comes out? The AI might be able to get you that, quantum. You know what I
Mm,
mean? There's hackers out there. They breaking into shit. So you're one discovery, one breakthrough, one hack away from seeing some shit that you can't unsee, that's gonna change everything forever. And you won't be able to, it's one of those, it's gonna be a catalyst to where it's gonna shift things, to like how 9/11 shifted things to where you can't even remember pre 9/11 sometimes.
mm. Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna get next show. I'm gonna get a counter read for every time you say. I don't mean to cut your wisdom. I think you said that about 8 times. I think Red is on 8 tonight. I don't want to cut your wisdom. I'm gonna give him the shirt that says I don't want to cut your wisdom. Red is a legend.
You're a wild boy.
I think he on number 8. What y'all think? 8? About 8, right? Shot. Red is a
Oh
legend with
man.
that. Now, Red get in that zone. Red get in that zone, and it's hard to contain him. You know, it got to come out. It got to come out when Red get in that zone. I know what that's like. As
You
a
know what you summon.
yeah, exactly. I told Red before the show. I said I want Scorpion King Red Pill tonight. So he, listen. Somebody, just we got about 15 more minutes. I don't want to keep. We about to hit the 2 hour mark. I don't want to keep Red on here too long. Oh, Jay Brown, I left my email. You said something, Jay Brown. And one thing to Jay Brown, my sister went to the Orangeburg County Historical Society. That's where, is that what you're talking about? Because you said go to Orangeburg. That's where she got some of the information from, the Orangeburg County Historical Society. Tell me, is that what you're talking about? But I left my email in the chat. I hope you got it. But there's something we didn't talk about this, Red. New Black Wall Street closed down in Atlanta.
Oh,
Somebody said, "What's up with the Black Wall Street blenders that shut down outside of ATL?" I don't know what they're talking about right there, but
right.
just in terms of New Black Wall Street shutting down, I'm thankful for everybody who came out. I did within the last 3 years. I did 2 events there, and
Right.
they were absolutely phenomenal. I you know, I had a great time. Thanks to everybody, Kim from New Black Wall Street, the brother Lord from Harlem from New Black Wall Street, and everybody else that helped me. I didn't end with a good relationship with New Black Wall Street. That's why I didn't do another event there. But people get greedy, Red. People get greedy, and
Yeah.
But what's your thoughts on New Black Wall Street shutting down, my brother?
Grand opening, grand closing. If there's one thing that I've come to grips with in Atlanta, is that Atlanta's like a movie set. Things rise and fall out here. Things open and close out here. There's eras and epochs out here. So we had the new Black Wall Street era. But just like Spirit, the eagle has landed. Um, Management inside of there was very difficult for those of us who've worked with them behind the scenes. We know what it is. And then the death blow came when the billionaire founder, Mr. Bill Allen, made transition, right? Post COVID, I believe. Yeah, he made transition right before one of your events. So he was the rock that kind of held things together. His heir, which was his son, he was he during C19, he wound up you know leaving the planet and whatnot. So yeah, that is a telltale sign about management and having certain people as successors to keep your vision alive and to keep everything flowing cohesively and whatnot. I had some ideas that I wanted to that I shared with them while it was open that I felt that could turn around their foot traffic. You know what I mean? I wanted to turn that into like the wholesale district from like New York. But yeah, it's not there anymore. And I'm not gonna start finger pointing and saying black people should have supported it and been there. But you know, black people could, you know what I mean? You know who I say? Jamal Bryant, coincident, the same one who called the Target boycott.
Right.
He was tied into that into Black Wall Street, and he had a mega church. And those people would come into New Black Wall Street and wouldn't spend a dime with the vendors and whatnot. They do their little church thing, and they would not spend with the vendors because the vendors were selling crystals, shea
Yeah.
butter, and dashikis. And them church folk in Atlanta got an issue with people that are trying to heal their asses and whatnot with sea moss and shea butter and all of that healthy stuff. And they still got this thing with them, right? So the fact that that area has a lot of Bible thumpers and people who are scared of fucking sage and whatnot, they kind of like, they shunned that area, but they went and threw their dollars over there in Stonecrest Mall and in other vendors' faces and whatnot. So it is what it is.
Yeah, a lot of the vendors, they were complaining to me about that with the church folks, and then everybody, you deserve the
You
right to do
entitled,
whatever you want to
yeah,
do,
you entitled
entitled
to
to do
your
whatever
money.
you want to do with your money. We're just making an observation. A lot of the vendors that were there, anything you have that looks African is like evil to people who are into the Bible for the most part, not everybody. So when you have African costumes, dashiki, African mask, and things
Right.
like this, they're
And
like, oh, incense. They like hell no. They like hell. So
you
they're
see the
not
art
trying to.
gallery?
They're not. You're straight African. Straight African. It was some it looked like Black Panther when they went to the museum and they
It was
had
a
and they had
fact.
the mask. They had some man. Ooh, they had a
Yeah.
lot of beautiful things in that in New Black Wall Street. They had a lot of beauty in there, and
The potential was bananas.
yeah, no, it was amazing potential. Like the vendors that they were so happy when I came through there with the vent, and I want to give y'all a big shout out, a huge shout out. I'm gonna tell you why, because y'all came through to my event. Number one, my event sold out in like 2-3 weeks. It was almost 2,000 people in there. It's the
Yeah.
most people I bought the most people Black Wall Street ever seen. Me,
Fact.
Conscious Rich.
Facts.
I had the biggest event they ever seen. It was so big that the whole mall was eaten. Not just I had a section cut off, but they had their own vendors outside of my section, and all of my people supported everybody. I,
Yeah.
I had the mall making so much money. I had a 2-day event, the Gathering of the Masters. The second day, they came with food trucks outside. And I even complained. I see what they was doing,
Yeah.
undercutting me and my vendors. I ain't even complain though. I was just like, damn, like it's like that. But they had food trucks. I mean, the whole mall was eating. So I want to
Everybody.
thank. Don't let anybody tell y'all don't support. I want to thank everybody who came out and supported and showed love the entire mall. They could never say that the conscious folks didn't come out when we had events there and support because we damn sure
Oh yeah.
did. So shout out to all of y'all.
Yeah,
Shout out.
y'all etch your names in the history of that venue to the point where up until the last day they was talking about those two events.
Yeah.
The best times that they saw in that whole entire property for the amount of time. I believe it was open. Well, it was more than 6 years because I in 2020 it was already open if my memory served me correct. But yeah, it was up. But you brought the most. Jefferson, I saw Jefferson fight tooth and nail to get fair representation for the vendors, to put them on to his to ideas, because I would share my ideas, and because Jefferson was a paying rent, Baba G was paying rent. Sister Karma and her father, they were selling the jury. Beautiful vendors, so many beautiful vendors over time. A brother, a painter, a very famous painter, I believe his name is Kalanji. Like there were so many legendary vendors there. It's just gonna have to, we're gonna have to, something else is gonna resurrect, inshallah, and we get a second chance to do it in another, probably in it, because Atlanta is big, so sometimes the energy shifts and it goes to other sides and whatnot. It's 2019, it started right, so the energy will go to other pockets of the A, and hopefully somebody, an investor, a millionaire, a billionaire, will build out something new.
Yeah, somebody said I remember the food. Yeah, that wasn't even my vendors. That wasn't even my people. They heard about it. And they was like, "Yo, everybody get money over here. Come out and come out." It was so they came out. I mean, it was that gathering of the masses, y'all. Like, wow, I've never. That was beautiful. So shout out to
Like
y'all, man. I had it.
yeah, you could do your version of an invest fest, Rich.
Yeah. Me and
Like
Jeff
it,
was talking about it.
all that is a sign is that you outgrown that. You know what I mean? You know, sayonara to it, but the, you know, your capacity and what you could hold. Remember, there was a limit on what you could even fill that place up with. It's almost like you need a 3 liter, and that was a 1 liter.
Right.
The volume contained your growth. So if they only had 2,000 seats, it's containing your expansion and whatnot. So the next one is gonna have to be 4,000 seats.
Yeah,
You
Jeff,
know?
Jeff, Jeff was putting me on. You know, I'm actually people was putting me on to some real good New York spots too. Where you think if let me ask you, Red, for a 5,000 person event, where would be better, New York or Atlanta? For a 5,000 person event, capacity event. What do you think would be better for the community, New York or Atlanta?
I would say Atlanta.
Atlanta? Okay.
Yeah.
Why you say Atlanta?
When I see Atlanta, I see expansion. I see, you know, it's big. It's like, you know, that's why EYL came out there to do it in the convention centers. They built Atlanta to be, for the conventions. You know what I mean? That's why
Mm,
Hartsfield
mm.
Airport is so busy, because they do the hotel conventions. Then they have the Georgia World Congress Center. Then they had the event where we did the, this is where my we did the Black Power Awards in 2016.
Right.
You feel me? That place was the most beautiful place in, did I say, and it's black owned and whatnot. Um, then you have venues that are big like that. When I think New York, I think Jacob Javits Center and Madison Square Garden and Barclays when I see these big places. Shout out to my dude Society. He just showed me a place that has 4,000 square feet, I think.
Mhm.
So there are warehouse type spaces in places in New York that you can have access to. I just don't know if 5,000 will fly into New York and stay in New York to go to your event, and it would be as cost efficient of 5,000 people coming into a place like the A, where it's a little more friendlier to people like coming in from different pockets. You
Mm.
know, you got your Texas,
Okay.
Alabama, Mississippi, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, all of that corridor. It
Right.
just spills right into that corridor right there.
Right.
And then somebody said Vegas. Somebody in Atlanta is the New York.
Desert, the Vegas, that's the desert. Shit, it's be like
They
a
built
hundred.
for conventions though. They built for
Oh, they do the. Oh, okay.
conventions. Yeah.
Interesting. Somebody said way cheaper to fly to Vegas. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but that's 6 hours. I am good on them long flights
Whew.
right now.
Yeah. Red man, I think it might be time to wrap it up, man. What a show! What a show! What a show!
Yes, it was.
What do you want to leave? Tell the people what you got coming up, what you got going on, how they could get in touch with you, my brother.
Oh man. May I call it May Day. You know what I mean? This May, I have a lot of events. I am very booked for the month of May. I did a lot of work in the winter, in the hibernation season, just getting myself ready and whatnot, getting myself prepared, lining my ducks, getting my ducks aligned and whatnot. So yeah, I'm basically booked every week of May to do something. My event that I'm gonna talk to the family about, I'll be in Miami the end of May for a 72-hour boot camp called 72 Claws. And Claws is an acronym for kinetic knowledge, legacy and land, autonomy and AGI, wisdom and wealth, spirituality and sovereignty. Okay. And that is going to have special guest Original Black God. He's going to be teaching in the boot camp how to make a movie. You know what I mean? We'll spend a whole, maybe a day with Original Black God, and he'll be teaching everybody. Not teaching, this is a boot camp, so we'll all be working hand in hand. It'll be IRL and it'll be live stream. I dropped a link in the private. You, if you don't
Oh,
mind, can you drop that for me, please?
yeah.
I got the brother Heru Ofari Atta, who is a healer. He has a powerful line right here. He is he's been bringing a lot of people health and doing a lot of monumental things. My good brother Heru, he's gonna be the part, because what I'm doing is I'm balancing spirituality or ancestral intelligence with artificial intelligence. But in this boot camp, we're gonna teach you about Claude, Anthropic Claude, Claude Cowork, Claude Code. We're gonna be teaching you about the Hermes, the autonomous agent, and also Open Claude, which is also the autonomous agent operating system. So yeah, that is going to be at the end of May. I look forward. It's gonna be like in a fly ass spot too. So we all gonna have fun. We might have a yacht party that weekend as well, but we're gonna enjoy life. We're gonna enjoy the sunlight, the sunshine. We're gonna enjoy the beach. We're gonna be in that water, but we also gonna be getting upskilled and upgraded.
Mm-hmm. No,
Yeah.
indeed,
So thank
indeed.
you.
Uh,
Um,
I left that link in the chat.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That
yeah,
link
yeah.
is in the chat, family. So you could click on the link to see exactly what Red Pillar is talking about in the chat. Let me drop my email again. I see somebody.
Yeah, appreciate that. The last one we did was powerful, North Carolina. Shout out to everybody that came out for that. The 72 Claws, North Carolina was lit. We was outside. We was in tents. I was in a cabin though, because I had my computer and I had to do my work every day before I did my classes. But I was teaching outdoors. We by the lake. You know what I mean? They had stuff. It was dope, the ATVs and all of that. So salute to everybody. But yeah, let's practice more of this collective, coming together, gathering to do things, to make things happen. Because you're gonna leave there and your whole entire business and everything will be changed. Like you're not gonna come there and leave the same. We're gonna be activated. You're gonna be activated.
Indeed, indeed. And before we get out of here, I want to also leave the donation link if you are interested in the radio cigars. I had a shipment that went out yesterday, and I know some of y'all sent it to the other email. I'm gonna work on that this week. But yeah, Red. Met up with Red at the studio the other day, so Red got a couple. But yeah, I had a shipment go out yesterday. I just left my email. If you want tracking information and you ordered, donated, you could hit me up on the email. But yeah, that's the link right there. With that being said, Red, I want to thank you, brother. I appreciate you for coming on the show, brother.
Appreciate you.
Amazing,
I appreciate
amazing
you.
job as usual, my brother.
Oh man, good look, man. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate y'all. Peace, love, and light. And we will see you again on these journeys. Salute.
Indeed.
Salute to Mama Pill, Blue Pill, KT the Arch Degree, the KT Aliens, everybody. Peace.
Peace, Red. Shout out to that brother Red Pill. Magnificent show, family. Yeah, people saying they got their cigars today. That's great. I'm glad. Yeah, them cigars are definitely life changing. And like Rod Hayes said, laser focus. It gives you that. People, what they take in college for that laser focus? They take what's that called? I forget what they take some shit that they take, but yeah, it does so many things besides the focus aspect. But yeah, shout out to everybody who donated for the cigars. I got this video Adderall. Yeah, they do the Adderall. Yeah. We don't need the Adderall. You know what I'm saying? Tap in with the radio cigars. You know what I'm saying? You don't need the Adderall. Tap in with the radio cigars. You know what I'm saying? But some people take ketamine. Yeah, I heard about that. The ketamine. Yeah, I heard about that. Red said the Technos Tuesday tonight. So Red gonna be on late night then. Red's gonna be on late night. So you can head over to his channel for the Techno Tuesdays. So yeah. But listen, I will see y'all if not tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday. If not tomorrow, then Thursday. But yeah, I'll be going for about 4 or 5 days. You know, and there was this brother's book I was supposed to show y'all. I forgot it in the car. I'm gonna show it next show. I met up with a brother at the Decap Farmers Market. He got a brilliant children's book. But yeah, I'm gonna show it to y'all next show. But shout out to all of y'all. Thank all of y'all for coming on, man. I mean, I appreciate the support. We will be back in a couple of days. All right. Yeah, Phil's doing. Yeah, I gotta call Phil because yeah, he got this webinar he's doing on the Patreon. So I gotta ask him what's the deal. I know he got a lot going on right now, so I gotta ask Phil. I want to try to get a date for the workshop from Phil, but he's definitely coming on the Patreon with an amazing webinar. So as soon as I get more information on that, I will let y'all know about that as well. But other than that, let me see what y'all talking about. Thanks for tuning in. Had a great show, family. I will see y'all tomorrow. All right. Peace.
Before there was cigarettes, before there were brands, there was the leaf. Tobacco is one of the oldest forms of spirit communication known to humanity. Long before modern times, it was understood as a living messenger, a way for human intention to travel beyond the visible world and return with meaning. In the oldest traditions, tobacco was never a habit. It was a bridge, not something used to escape life, but something used to speak with it. Our ancestors knew breath as spirit itself, and smoke was breath-given form. When the leaf touched fire, it awakened. When guided by breath, it carried thought into the unseen. In that moment, intention became vapor, and prayer learned how to rise. It was never about getting high. It was about clarity, connection, making the invisible visible. That's the memory the leaf still carries. Radio Cigars.
Radio cigar. Radio cigar. Radio cigar.